This video is going to show you how to do a grid transfer from a photograph with a grid to a grid on another sheet of paper. So the first thing you want to do is double check that your grid is correct. So you want to count the number of squares on one side of your grid and make sure they are the same as the number of squares on the grid that you drew. And then do the same with the other side too, just to make sure that your grids are the same. The other thing you want to double check is make sure that these are both perfect squares. What will happen if you didn't draw your grid right, like if, for example, you just approximated a straight line but didn't actually measure all four sides, then the portrait will be a little bit warped. Okay, so you should have done like really precise measuring to make sure these are perfect squares. If you happened to print your photo, I would recommend drawing with like a colored pencil the edges on. It'll make drawing the lines a lot easier. The other thing that you can do if you want is to label across the top like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and down the side ABC, and then do the same thing on your final drawing, and that'll help you find a square easier. It'll be harder to do that if you're just looking at this digitally, and you'll just have to do careful counting. But once you start drawing, as long as you know you're started in the right square, you should be good. And you can just kind of double check that you're in the right one every once in a while. Okay, the way you start is you pick a square that feels really easy to start in. For me, I think that's going to be this square right here, okay? A lot of times it's easiest in a place where there's just a clear, simple line, like the edge of some hair, or maybe over here I could have started with my cheek. Whatever you feel like is easiest for you, it doesn't really matter where you start. So first I'm going to find where this square is on my drawing. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is in the 6th square. So I'll find the same one up here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here's the 6th one. Now you are going to go square by square, and you're going to look at where the lines of the head and the face cross the grid lines. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to make little tick marks on here at the places where they cross. So for example, this spot right here is right here. I'm going to do a tick mark there, and then I'm going to do a tick mark, this is right at the corner, right at the top. After you have your tick marks on there, then you go back and really lightly draw in the line. And you want to keep it light because, you know, if you messed up and you realize something wasn't right, then it's easy to erase and you don't have something that's there forever. Okay? Then you just go to the next one that makes sense. So I'm going to go to this one. I could count again to double check, but this is a pretty obvious place. So I'm going to look down here. This is right on the halfway point of the square. So I'm going to find the halfway point. And I already have this tick mark. So then I'll just lightly connect them. And you just keep going. And you do all the lines that way.